Let's face it, most of us watching Gundam would do anything to pilot a Gundam. But before you start dreaming of being in your own isekai anime, let's have a look at 5 Gundams that you're better off not piloting. And I'm not just talking about low performance in this video. Instead, these things could harm or even kill you because of their design. To keep things from getting too repetitive, every entry is dangerous for a different reason. I've also tried ranking them from least dangerous to most dangerous. Also, for the purpose of this video, we're going with the assumption that you are the average pilot. But first, let's talk about something that you would want to do: downloading Raid Shadow Legends. Not only is the game crazy popular with over 15 million downloads in the last 6 months, they're now nominated as a finalist for Google Play's Best of 2019 Users' Choice Award, and they're still trying to make the game better. With over 14 champions added every month, you'll never grow tired of customizing your team for PvP or the fully voiced campaign. And if that still isn't enough, they have a roadmap with huge updates for the next 6 months. And just playing this amazing content will earn you tons of free champions, equipment, and other stuff to play around with, including one of the best legendaries in the game, the Arbiter. I'm sorry, my Crusader, but I think you've been replaced. So if you want to join me and millions of other players, download Raid Shadow Legends with my link. Not only will you be getting an amazing free game and support the channel, but new players will also get 100,000 silver, 2 clan boss keys, 10 mystery shards, and 1 free champion, the Executioner. But now back to the video, and let's start off with the Gundam that you weren't expecting, the NT1 Alex. But believe me, there is a good reason. During the 1-year war, the Federation knew very little about new types and their powers, so when it came to designing a new type use machine, they created a super reactive, high-performance Gundam that was tuned to the reaction speed of a new type. While this was great for a new type and or ace pilot, the controls were way too sensitive for a regular pilot. This meant that for the average pilot and even its test pilot, the Alex felt like it was out of control, which is not necessarily something you want to experience when your life is on the line.
前周スクリーンとマグネットコーティングの感想は？
早すぎて怖いくらいよ。こんな敏感な機体実戦で使えるの？
パイロットの腕次第ってとこかな。
私じゃアレックスは使いこなせないって意味？
とんがんなよ。こいつはニュータイプ専用機だ。あんたの腕は認めるが、ちょっとばかり荷が勝ちすぎる。これを扱えるのは一種の化け物さ。
Piloting the Alex wouldn't necessarily kill you, but you would probably be better off piloting something more standard like the vanilla RX-78-2. Because of this, it is just the first machine on this list. Believe me, things are gonna get way worse. While the Alex was dangerous because of its high-performance design, the Forbidden Blue was dangerous because of its flawed design. It was designed as an underwater variant of the Alliance's Forbidden Gundam, but in the worst way possible. Rather than overhauling the entire machine, the weapons and thrusters were simply replaced with underwater variants, and a tail was added that served as an antenna, sonar, and anchor. In order to survive the water pressure, the machine relied solely on the Geschmeidig Panzer beam reflection technology that was mounted on its 2 shields. The big problem was, of course, that these relied on the same battery used for the transface armor, meaning that when the battery ran dry, or God forbid, failed, the Forbidden Blue would be crushed by water pressure if it was too deep. This earned it the very flattering nickname Forbidden Coffin. 4 of these coffins were produced, and it is unknown how many of them met this fate. Fortunately, these issues were fixed with its successors, the mass-produced Deep Forbidden and the visually identical Forbidden Vortex. Also, technically the Forbidden Blue isn't called a Gundam, but it's based on the Forbidden Gundam, so I would be surprised if it wasn't running the same or its own slightly different version of the Gundam mobile operating system. You know, if it quacks like a duck and walks like a duck. Then we have a Gundam that I definitely wanted to pilot as a kid, the Wing Zero. It had everything. Powerful weapons, good mobility, it transformed, and it had the Zero system. A cool computer system that made it even more powerful. The problem with this neat system was how it worked. Rather than combat information being displayed on a monitor, which your eyes would then see and send to your brain, the Zero system cut out the middleman and immediately sent that information to your brain. And this wasn't just regular combat data. It also tried to predict the future by calculating every single possibility and sending the most likely ones to the pilot too. urging certain courses of action in response. This caused two major problems. The first one was information overload. Correctly processing all of the information that the Zero system sent to your brain would require you to be extremely mentally strong, and for most, if not all of the pilots, using the system would result in hallucinations that were caused by the pilot not being able to distinguish between what was actually going on and the recommendations of the Zero system. During these hallucinations, you could either be a sitting duck or take out the enemy in a completely different way than you were actually seeing. The second problem lay with the nature of these courses of actions that the Zero system ever so gently suggested to the pilot. These were cold-blooded calculations that did not take collateral damage into account at all, no matter who or what it was. Another problem was that the system was also brutally honest. If it thought that you couldn't win, it would tell you so. And if you can't win, you might as well take out as many enemies as you can by self-detonating, which the Zero system could actually urge you to do. So if you have to pilot to Wing Zero, you might want to uninstall the Zero system first. You wouldn't be the first dead man who thought he could master it.
It's just too much for a human being to handle. If anyone were capable of it, it'd be superior to the entire human race.
New type machines sometimes get a bad rep due to the mentally unstable cyber new types that typically pilot them. But generally speaking, these machines aren't particularly dangerous to the pilot. If a normal human were to pilot them, they would simply not have access to certain new type only weapons or features. This was a completely different story with the Psycho Gundam. This monstrosity of a Gundam was 40 meters tall, armed to the teeth, and rather than having a normal control system, it could only be controlled by a new type only Psychomu system. Should a normal human being even attempt to control this thing, the psychological stress would quickly overpower the pilot and even kill him. If you're a new type, you should be fine, I guess? But let's face it, even if new types really existed, chances of you being one are almost zero. And even if you were to go with the option of becoming a cyber new type, it probably wouldn't end well for you either, one way or another. And finally, we come to the most dangerous Gundam of all, appropriately called the Devil Gundam, also known as the Dark Gundam in the English dub. Initially developed by Dr. Kashu as the Ultimate Gundam, it was the amalgamation of technological and organical sciences. This allowed the Ultimate Gundam to self-recover, self-replicate, and even self-evolve. Dr. Kashu's goal was that this could be used to restore the Earth, in addition to being replicated in humans. However, because of the power of the Ultimate Gundam, certain individuals wanted to use it for world domination, prompting Dr. Kashu's son Kyoji to steal the Ultimate Gundam and flee to Earth. Unfortunately, during re-entry something went horribly wrong. The Ultimate Gundam crash-landed on Earth, and during its recovery, its AI decided that wiping out all of humanity was the only way to save the planet. Because of this, the Ultimate Gundam was reborn as the Devil Gundam, and its pilot now became little more than an energy source. Under no circumstances should you ever try to pilot this thing. That is, of course, if it even gives you a choice.
These hands of ours are burning red! Their loud cry tells us
To grasp happiness!
evoking! Burning finger!
And let's wrap up this video with two honorable mentions. First of all, we have the IWSP Striker Pack. It's not really a Gundam by itself, but it is usually used by Gundams, specifically the Strike and Strike E. Now, you might be wondering why you wouldn't want to pilot this amazing piece of tech. It's the culmination of the Ale, Launcher, and Sword Striker packs, allowing the Strike IWSP to kick ass at any time, anywhere, anyhow. The problem, however, was that the combination of a plethora of weapons and powerful thrusters that even allowed for atmospheric flight were not only a huge drain on the battery, but also incredibly difficult to use. For this reason, the pack saw only limited use and was instead mass-produced as the Jet Striker and Doppelhorn Striker packs. The second honorable mention goes to the Gundam that kinda inspired this list. the Barbatos. The more I thought about it, the less quote-unquote dangerous the Alaya Vignana system seemed. Provided that you survived the initial operation, the system allowed a rookie pilot to easily control a compatible machine, and it gave, how to best put this, options to better pilots. During normal operations, safety limiters made sure that the pilot didn't overexert himself, but should he choose to do so, he could disengage them on the fly. Yes, once outside of the mobile suit, he would lose some bodily function, but these would return once back in the cockpit. And unlike something like the Zero system, the pilot seemed to stay in full control. So, to put it quite blunt, it's better to lose control of an arm than to lose your life. And that is all for this video about 5.5 Gundams that you wouldn't want to pilot, and one that you would want to pilot. If you can think about some more Gundams that the average person wouldn't want to pilot, let me know in the comments down below and I'll have a look at those too. But first, 5 non-Gundam mobile suits that you wouldn't want to pilot. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like down below and be sure to subscribe for more similar content. As always, a big thank you to the Patreon supporters and Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you all next time.